Hey guys, this is Austin, and this laptop might have some of the best battery life in the world. So this is the Gram 13, and big shout out to LG for sponsoring this video. So not only is this supposed to have good battery life, but it's also a very lightweight laptop. So that Gram name isn't just for show. This guy weighs around a kilogram or just over 2 pounds. So inside the box, we get the laptop itself with a very handy little G to pick it up. Woo, that was meaty. Wow, that's actually really weirdly light. Continuing on, we actually have a lot of accessories, starting with a USB-C to Ethernet adapter? Really? So even though this is a 13-inch laptop, it's actually almost closer to an 11-inch laptop in footprint, as I shall demonstrate with this totally random, generic, no-name 11-inch laptop. Man, I feel like I'm gonna keep saying this, but this is so lightweight. So what's cool is, even though it almost feels like it's plastic, this is actually magnesium. Or rather, it's a nanocarbon magnesium alloy. Ken made me put this on, by the way. He thought it would be funny. For such a thin laptop, there are actually quite a few ports. So on the left side, you'll find that there is a charging port, USB 3, HDMI, as well as USB-C. And if you flip it over, you'll find there's one more USB 3 port, a headphone jack, as well as a micro SD card slot. I just like doing this. It's just so lightweight. It feels like, I don't know. It just feels like there's like something missing, but it's just a really lightweight laptop. I think the build quality is actually something that's really jumping out to me about the Gram. So if you guys saw my friend What's Inside when they took a look at the Gram, they actually put this thing through a lot of abuse. And LG claims they can handle something like 400 pounds of pressure without breaking. The screen is flexible so it doesn't actually break. It's, for something so lightweight, more durable than you would think. Inside, the Gram 13 is powered by a dual-core i5-7200U, which is based on Kaby Lake, so it's pretty much as new as it gets, 8 GB of memory, as well as a 256 GB SSD. The speakers are interesting. So they are kind of on the bottom, but they actually project sideways. So while they're maybe not quite as loud as I would like, they actually don't sound that bad. What's cool about having that full USB-C port is that with a single cable, we can attach the Gram to a 4K monitor, and not only are we going to get that 4K video signal, we can also get charging to the laptop as well as extra data via the USB ports on the monitor. So first impressions of the Gram are pretty solid, but what I really want to put to the test is that battery life. See ya, Jimmy.
I'm gonna keep this for the weekend.
So the first thing that jumps out to me about using the Gram, especially as I travel, is that weight. So after using a giant laptop for the last year and a half or so, having something that's so light and so portable actually does make a difference. My bag feels like it weighs a lot less. But of course, the biggest part of the Gram is that battery life. So it has been nearly 4 days since I took this off the charger, and let's see what the battery life is like. So, open it up here. Right now we are at 48%. That is not bad. And I have not used this thing lightly. So on top of being in standby for 4 days, I watched about 3 hours of Netflix, some YouTube, answered some emails, did some web browsing, and this is absolutely held up. Now I will say that you should turn battery saver on. That definitely does give you a fair bit extra battery life. But with a laptop like this, it kind of makes you use it differently. So I was able to use the Gram one-handed with the touchscreen. Mind you, it's not maybe the most comfortable way of using a laptop in the world, but having something that's so lightweight with a touchscreen actually does work out pretty well. Performance is pretty snappy. So with that Kaby Lake Core i5 processor, it easily handles any kind of basic usage, and even more moderate stuff like Photoshop runs no problem. Now you won't want to do a lot of heavy gaming or especially video editing on this guy, but for pretty much 98% of what I do every day, it's completely fine. With a laptop like this, the inputs really do matter, and I don't really have any complaints about the Gram. So the keyboard itself is nicely spaced, it has plenty of key travel, and as an upgrade from the previous Gram, it's fully backlit this time. The trackpad is also pretty decent. So my only slight complaint is that it's maybe not quite as accurate as I'd like, but for the most part it's completely fine, and I ended up opting for the slightly upgraded version of the Gram with the touchscreen, which definitely makes a big difference. I really do feel like Windows 10 laptops should all have touchscreens at this point. Speaking of, that screen is on point. So don't let that 1080p resolution fool you. It really is more than enough for a 13-inch display, especially when you consider that the higher resolution screens usually do hurt battery life. More importantly, it's got a really solid IPS panel. So color, contrast, especially viewing angles are nice. It gets reasonably bright even when you're outside. And because it has such thin bezels, it makes the overall laptop size a lot smaller than it otherwise would be. The only issue with the small bezel is that it puts the webcam on the bottom of the screen, which gives you a great view of the inside of your nose. One cool part about upgrading to the touchscreen model is that it does come with a fingerprint reader. This is again something that I find I'm using all the time on laptops. It's so nice to be able to use Windows Hello to drop your finger on the touchpad and immediately log in. It is really nice to be able to take a laptop on a full weekend trip and not even think about taking the power adapter. So what do you guys think about the LG Gram? Let me know in the comments below and I will catch you in the next one.